Hi, everybody. Thank you all so much for joining. You should be able to see the presentation on your screen. Kate or Clifford, who are the only two I can see on camera. Can you all see it okay? Perfect. Okay. Oh, I'm going to stop it. I'm going to stop sharing for 1 second. I'll be right back. Forgot to include the sound so that you all can hear some nice 70s and 80s acoustics. Hi, Kimora. Hi, everyone. Brittany Harris. Thank you all so much for joining. Billy's here. So while we're waiting for everyone to join, if you don't mind putting your name and your pronouns in the chat. Let me pause the music, sorry. I can't talk and listen to music at the same time. I can no longer multitask. If you all could put your name and pronouns, where you're joining from, and then who your legislators are in the chat, that would be wonderful. If you don't know who your legislators are, that is completely okay. My boss, Kate Miller, is going to put a link to look up your legislators in the chat. So I'll go ahead and put my own name in here. There we go. Yay. Okay, I'm going to keep playing the music. And we're probably going to get started at like 6:03-ish. A lot of people were registered and a lot of people are joining. So I just want to make sure everyone has time to get on the call. So I'm going to keep playing the music. But thank you all so much for being here. Gonna pause it another second. Thank you all so much for joining. I love seeing all the different legislators from across the state that people have. Sorry if you can hear my dog. He's trying to get in my lap. Now he's growling at me. Okay, I'm going to give people a couple more minutes, but for anyone who's just getting on, please put your name and your pronouns, where you're joining from, and who your legislators are in the chat, please. That would be super helpful. And Kate has put a link to find your all's legislators in the chat. This is such a diverse group of legislators. geographically speaking. Normally we have a smaller group, but I really appreciate you all taking the time out of your Wednesday nights to join. Okay, I'm going to play the music for like 2 more minutes while people jump on.
When I hear you went up to Saratoga and your horse naturally won, then you flew your Learjet up to Nova Scotia to see the total eclipse of the sun. Well, you're where you should be all the time, and when you're not, you're with some underworld spy or the wife of a close friend, wife of a close friend, and you're so vain. You probably think the song is about you. You're so vain. I bet you think the song is about you. Don't you? Don't you? Don't you?
Okay, I feel like that is a good like segue into us getting started with the song ending. I think people are still hopping on, but just in the interest of time, we're gonna go ahead and get started. If I don't know if Rochelle is on the call, but if Rochelle is on the call, I'm just gonna ask, can you go into my email and check it and send the link to get on to anyone who has emailed me? I know that I've gotten a couple of emails, but because I'm sharing my screen, I can't like pull it all up. Um, but yeah, thank you all so much for joining. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you all taking time out of your Wednesday nights to listen to what the ACLU is going to be focused on for the next couple months. If you haven't yet, please just put your name, your pronouns, where you're joining from, and who your legislators are in the chat. My coworker Kate just put the link to find out who your legislators are in the chat in case you don't know them, which is completely fine. Okay, super. Oh, I love seeing that people know each other. That's great. Okay, so I'm going to move this. Also, I'm just narrating myself what I'm doing on my screen that you can't see, so you can ignore that. I do want to get us started off by just saying thank you. I know I just said it, I've said it multiple times, but I really, really do appreciate you all taking time out of your nights and your busy lives to join us in preparation for the 2025 legislative session. I know that there are a million different things going on. It's the new year, it's right after the holidays. People have to get back into their jobs and all of that. So I just really appreciate you all taking time out and joining us tonight. So the purpose of tonight's call is to summarize the ACLU of Kentucky's policy priorities and to talk to you all about how you can get involved in the legislative session. So hopefully by the end of this call, you will have a better understanding of the legislative session and a better understanding of how you all can affect change yourselves during this session in 2025. Before I go through the agenda, I'm going to ask a huge favor. I'm going to ask that everyone come on camera just really quick. We want to get some screenshots of everyone who has joined because we have 98 people. That's a ton of people on a call. So if you're able to and you're willing, if you don't mind to just come on camera really, really quick, you can immediately go back off camera. It doesn't matter if you're cooking, if you're cleaning, if you're, at the gym working out. If you could just come on camera really fast so that Kate can get a couple of screenshots. Kate did say we prefer if you're cooking or if you're
Yeah.
driving, except
if you're
you're
doing an activity, that makes it really exciting. You'll need to stop sharing the screen for 1 second, Heather,
Great. Love that.
for me to try to get this picture. Oh, look! Oh my gosh! All right, everybody say cheese. Oh, there's a little person in this one. I love it. Okay, let me try another one too. Okay.
This is wonderful.
I just can't believe how many we have.
People are excited about this session. Oh my gosh, we're at 100 people. That's wonderful.
Oh my God, this is so cool. Here, I'll sing so that it's not awkward while you're waiting to get your picture taken.
Yeah, because we have no idea which.
You're so vain. You probably think this song is about you, Kentucky General Assembly, but it is. You're so... I don't know the next words. Okay, let me get one more, you all. I wouldn't do this except it's just so great how many people have come off screen. And I think Brene Brown would appreciate my vulnerability in singing. So, okay, last one, I promise. Okay, I think we got enough. I don't think I got everybody, but I think we did pretty good.
Thank you, Kate. And thank you all so much for coming. Off camera, let me share my screen again. Okay, so now we are getting started. We're up to 104 people. So I'm glad that we were able to get started a little bit later than anticipated. So this is our agenda for the night. We are going to, I'm going to introduce you all to the advocacy team. We're going to go through our policy priority for this legislative session. I'm going to do a general introduction to the 2025 legislative session. I'm going to talk about the wall of sound and what that means and how you can contribute to it. And then I'm going to answer any and all questions that you might have at the very end. If you have questions while I'm going through slides, please feel free to put those in the chat. Kate, who just took all of our pictures, she is going to be monitoring the chat. I am not able to monitor the chat and also go with the presentation because I have two screens and it just, it won't let me. But yeah, if you have any questions or if we don't get to it, you can always email us, but just put them all in the chat. I think there's a Q&A option as well, so you can do that. We want to make sure that we get all of your questions answered. So let's go. I say to myself as I can't go to the next slide. Okay, so welcome to the advocacy team. This is our lovely, wonderful advocacy team. We have our advocacy director, Kate Miller. She's the one who took all of our pictures. My name is Heather Eyre. I use she, her pronouns. I'm the campaign coordinator. We have Jackie McGranahan. She's our senior policy strategist, and her primary focus is on reproductive freedom. We have Kungo Jaguna. He is another policy strategist, and his area of focus is smart justice. We have Latanya McNeil. She is one of our smart justice advocates co-leaders. We have Rochelle Harris, who is our advocacy administrative assistant. She's wonderful. She keeps us together. She keeps us running. She keeps us in compliance, which is needed. And then we have Selena Coomer, and she is our other Smart Justice Advocates co-leader. Hopefully you've seen some of us, if not all of us, at various events, or you've been to our office and seen us, but just wanted to give those people a huge shout out. And then I also, two folks I want to give a shout out to who are not in the presentation, but who contributed a lot to it are Angela Cooper, our communications director, and Kyra Meter, who is contracting with us for graphic design. Their work is amazing. So really huge thank you to them for looking over this presentation, editing it, and making it nice. Moving along, we are going to get into our priority areas just a little bit. Our two main priority areas are reproductive freedom and smart justice. In the past, you might have seen us work on a lot of different issues. And over the past few years, we've tried to narrow our focus instead of being spread so thin over a lot of different issues. We know that there are a lot of problems in Kentucky, and we wish we could fix them all, but we're not always the best suited people for fixing certain issues. So we've really decided to focus our priority areas into reproductive freedom and smart justice. Things that fall under the reproductive freedom umbrella: access to abortion, Black maternal health, maternal mortality, paid family leave, LGBTQ plus access to care, those sorts of things. And then under smart justice, that is like clean slate, persistent felony offender, those kinds of issues. What we found is that there is quite a bit of overlap between reproductive freedom issues and smart justice issues. And so heading into this legislative session, we have one main priority piece of legislation that incorporates both reproductive freedom and smart justice. That does not mean that we are not paying attention to any other areas or any other issues. Our advocacy team reviews every bill that the legislature files in order to flag any areas of concern. But going into it, we are focused on one priority, proactive piece of legislation. And our advocacy director, Kate Miller, is going to talk a little bit about what that priority piece of legislation is.
Hi, everyone. Again, my name is Kate Miller. I use she, her pronouns. And thank you all so much for being here. I will do my best to monitor the chat and respond to the chat after I make a few comments as it relates to these slides. As Heather mentioned, even though we are still keeping our eyes on everything Frankfurt, we are really trying to focus on a piece of policy that we believe we can have some success in advancing this year. And it is really a piece of policy that is impacted by these issues of reproductive rights and smart justice. So we think it's a really unique opportunity. So as a lot of folks on the call may know, Kentucky has one of the highest rates of incarceration in the not just the country, but actually in the world, as a result of Kentucky's refusal to address the underlying problems that cause high rates of incarceration. We have seen Kentucky families fractured across the Commonwealth. If you go to the next slide, Heather, people will be able to see that Kentucky kids are really impacted by this issue. So Kentucky has one of the highest rates of kids who are impacted by either having a parent who's currently incarcerated or having had a parent who's incarcerated, about 12% of Kentucky kids. And of course, because of all the systems of oppression, this is disproportionately impacting Black kids and Black Kentucky families. Even though Black Kentuckians make up just 8% of the state's population, they usually make up about 20 to 21% of those who are incarcerated in the state. So we know that over-policing and white supremacy have led to these really big disparities. And not only do we have a high rate of incarceration, it's getting higher, and we have one of the highest rates of women who are incarcerated, and a fast growing population of women who are incarcerated, which again has an outsized impact on Kentucky families. And so one of our beliefs as it comes to reproductive rights is people need to be able to make decisions for themselves as it comes to pregnancy and how they raise their family. And so this is a really unique opportunity to sort of think about this through a reproductive rights lens as well. So what's the solution? If you'll go to the next slide. Kentucky has already put in place actually some helpful policies in terms of providing community-based alternatives to incarceration. So if someone is dealing with a problem, let's use the example of substance use disorder. And as a result of that problem, or I mean, it could even be something like poverty or just not having access to the resources that you need. So instead of responding to that problem by incarcerating someone, which usually makes the problem worse, in the long run, can we find an alternative based in the community so that individuals are able to get what they need to address the problem and be successful? So in that same example of substance use disorder, are we able to give people meaningful access to treatment? And in that way, can we keep the person together with their family? And so there's less of an impact on not only the person who's incarcerated, but also on the Kentucky kids and the Kentucky families that are being impacted by the problem. So this is a really short summary. This is the first year that we're working on this piece of legislation and that we're prioritizing it. And so we're really still working out a lot of the challenges that accompany this problem. But if you'll go to the next slide, you'll see that we have hit the ground running. The bill has not yet been filed. The General Assembly just gavelled in on Tuesday, yesterday, but we have secured a primary sponsor, Senator Julie Rocky Adams, who has agreed to champion the bill. And we're working with groups from all across the state and from across the political spectrum. You can see some of those groups included here, like VOA or Kentucky Youth Advocates, Right on Crime, the Catholic Conference, KY Policy, Dream.org, and Metro United Way. Oh, in Kentucky Free. I've seen a couple of folks in the chat mention that they're with an organization. And so I'm going to include a link here for people that are interested in supporting this policy idea. You can actually use this link to sign up as an endorser and just stay in the loop as we work to advance this bill. And I think the next slide.
Yeah, I can go with the next slide, Kate. Thank you.
Great.
So going into the general information about the 2025 legislative session, like Kate mentioned, they gavelled in yesterday, Tuesday, January 7th. I don't know how many of you all had the kind of snow that we had here in Louisville, but because of the Constitution, they had to gavel in yesterday and they made it. So part one of this legislative session is this first week. It's January 7th, yesterday, through Friday, January 10th. This year's session is a short session. So that means that it's 30 days long. They're non-consecutive days. So it goes from January 7th through March 28th. There is a brief break from January 11th through February 3rd, where we will continue taking action and planning for that longer stretch, part two, which will go from February 4th through March 28th. And then sine die, which is just a fancy way to say it's over, will be March 28th. And by the time we get there, we feel like we've aged 10 years. So this is what the calendar or like the timeline of this 2025 legislative session is. In odd numbered years, we have short sessions like this year. In even numbered years, we have long sessions, which are 60 days, non-consecutive days. And the main priority for long sessions is to pass the budget. So we'll see what we get up to this year. These next few slides are designed to provide some background on the type of body that the Kentucky General Assembly currently is, and how the makeup can set the stage for what types of policies advance or don't advance. And then you also might hear me refer to the two parties as the majority and minority. So Republicans have the majority. So if I say the majority, I'm referring to the Republican legislators. If I say the minority, I'm referring to the Democratic legislators. So just to give you a brief little breakdown of this, the Senate is made up of 38 members, and broken up by party, there are 30 Republicans and 7 Democrats and 1 independent, which I just learned that there was 1 independent today when I was looking this up. In the House is made up of 100 representatives. 80 of those are Republicans and 20 are Democrats. In the next slide, we broke this down by race. So for the Senate, of the 38 members, 4 are Black senators, including Senator Keturah Herron, who is the second Black female senator in the history of Kentucky. And then in the House of Representatives, 100 of those members, 4 of those are Black representatives, and 1 is an Indian American representative. That is the makeup by race. And then finally, the House and Senate makeup by gender. The 38 members in the Senate, 8 are female senators, 30 are male. And then in the House, 33 are representatives. 33 are female representatives and 67 are male representatives. So again, just wanted to share that information on the makeup because it can impact, what types of policies advance and what might not advance. And then for this, I just wanted to show you how many bills are filed. We don't have that number yet for this session, but for this past legislative session in 2024, there were 1,738 bills filed, and only 534 of those bills actually passed. So that's less than a third of the bills that were filed passed. And so while 534 might sound like a big number, it's not that many, and it kind of goes to show how difficult it can be to get a piece of legislation across the finish line. So it takes a lot of work, a lot of relationships, and a lot of your all support. Going into the next slide, I'm going to turn it back over to Kate to go through some definitions that we find helpful when we're watching the legislative session take place.
All right, everybody. So we've gotten to the exciting part of the presentation where I read you definitions. No, I'm just kidding, but we do think that there are a lot of terms and jargon used when talking about the General Assembly or politics that can make it hard for folks to follow along. And so I think, of course, most folks are familiar with the term senator and representative, but lots of Kentuckians don't know that they have a state senator or a state representative. I think the biggest difference between these two groups is state senators are kind of thought of as the upper chamber. They have a bigger district and they serve for 4 years. The state representative just serves for 2. So basically almost every election cycle, except for in the off year, state representatives are running for office. And after Heather just went over the makeup of the General Assembly, I think a lot of you all who are 24 or going to be 24 or 30 in the next election cycle are thinking, hey, maybe I should run for office. So definitely keep that in mind as we continue through the presentation. And of course, we use the term legislator or lawmaker to refer to a senator or a representative. You can go to the next slide. Oh, I'm seeing a smiley face in the chat. Monica Dean, I'm going to call you out. Maybe that means you're thinking about running. So I think most folks are familiar with the term bill, which is just the written proposal for a modification of an existing law. I mean, most of the time when we're working on bills, and folks may know this already, but usually, even if we're introducing a new idea, we're modifying an existing part of the law that already exists, or sometimes repealing a part of the law that already exists. I want to call people's attention to the term committee because a lot of times you hear about the floor debate. A lot of times the committee debate is where the action really happens. So committees meet every week and their schedule is set. So you can look now to see when committees are meeting. And this is a smaller group of lawmakers, usually who have some sort of expertise. Like on the Judiciary Committee, you have people who served in law enforcement or served as criminal defense lawyers, or individuals who have some sort of expertise with the issue, serve on the committee, and they are the first ones to determine if a bill is going to move forward or not in a lot of ways. And so we really encourage people to go to committee meetings, to watch committee meetings online, and we can give you more information about those meetings as long as you're signed up as a volunteer. So when our bill gets a committee hearing, we'll want to have all 114 of you all there sitting with your shirts on that say support this bill sort of thing. And I just want to add too, folks may be familiar with the term floor amendment, where legislators will amend legislation on the floor of the House or Senate. But a lot of times, again, the action happens in the committee. So you will see something called a committee substitute, which is essentially an amending of the existing bill that then is presented in committee. And so sometimes that can be hard to follow. And so we just want to give you all a little bit of additional information if you didn't already have it. I'm sure some of you all did. At the end of this presentation, we'll also show you all a link to where you can find more information about all these definitions that we get from the Legislative Research Commission's webpage. Okay, I think you can go to the next slide.
Thank you, Kate.
Yeah.
Yeah, just trying to find my mouse. Thanks for those definitions, Kate. And like Kate mentioned, we take those definitions from the Legislative Research Commission's glossary on their website, which someone put in the chat. Thank you so much. And I will also be showing you all a little bit around the Legislative Research Commission's website in the next slide. So like I mentioned earlier in the call, I was going to talk about the wall of sound. This is a phrase that was introduced to me about a year ago. Cannot take credit for it. I'm pretty sure I heard it from Kelsey Hayes Coots, who is absolutely amazing. And we are continuing to work on this wall of sound. I want to get shirts made that say, ask me about my wall of sound, except that might be weird, but that's kind of the point. So we're hoping to create a wall of sound around legislators. We want them to hear about our priority legislation in the Capitol when they're walking to committee meetings, when they're in committee meetings, when they're on the floor, when they're at lunch, anytime they're in Frankfurt. We want them to hear about our priority legislation from their own colleagues, from their constituents, in their districts, on social media, in the news, on Facebook. We just want them to be surrounded by the Family Preservation Act. That's what we want it to be. We want them to constantly be thinking and hearing about the Family Preservation Act. So some examples of how we did this last year with paid family leave are on the screen. We have text messages that we sent. There was an op-ed by one of our amazing Breaking Barriers members, Nisi. It's a really wonderful op-ed. You can see, I think this is either Instagram or Facebook messaging. We had an action all call last year. We sent emails. And then right here, this little picture, someone emailed or called their legislator. That legislator got the message, listened to it, and hand wrote a note back to the person who called, went to their house and left it on their front door with their contact information. So that's really what we want this to be. We want this to be an opportunity for people to get to know who their legislators are, to actually meet them, introduce themselves, and hopefully develop a relationship that can grow, so that we can, get good legislation to advance. And this year, we're going to be doing that around the Family Preservation and Accountability Act. Again, these are just some of the examples. We hope to have a lot more from all 115 of you when I do this time next year. So for the wall of sound, we have a few different bricks that will become the wall of sound. Every action that volunteers take during the legislative session or outside of the legislative session, every single action that you all take is a brick in building that wall of sound. So one way is going to be through our all access pass, which Kyra Meter and our comms director, Angela Cooper, made. And I'm going to take you all to that, hopefully, right now. Not this screen, not David Osborne. I'm going to show you all where it lives. So this is the homepage of the ACLU of Kentucky's website, which is ACLU-KY.org. So you're going to navigate over here to General Assembly, and you're going to click on All Access Pass. It's going to show Kungo Jaguna. He was testifying in committee. And it goes down, it explains a little bit about what our legislators are doing in Frankfurt. And then there are different ways to take action and to build those little bricks that go, not little bricks, but build bricks to go into a big wall of sound. So if you click on this, you'll see that we have a citizens lobbying guide. you can click on the link here and it'll take you to the weekly or the daily legislative calendar. And this is the Legislative Research Commission's website right here. This is the homepage. Sorry, my dog now wants to get out of my lap. Okay, Tony's on the ground. Don't know if you heard him growl at me. And this is kind of a fun page to just click around on. It has a lot of really good information. It might not be that aesthetically pleasing, which is completely fine. Maybe they should contract with KY to get their graphic game up. But this is where you'll find you can find who your legislator is. You can look at the Senate members, House members, all the different committees, Kentucky law, lots of stuff. There's the glossary of legislative terms. So a lot more definitions in here in case you want to work on your vocabulary. And they do use quite a few words that, I don't think the general public would know. They still use a lot of words that I don't understand. But that is why we have the All Access Pass. So below that, there's more information here. We also have information here on calling the legislative message line. You'll click here to copy the script, which I wrote today and will be updated very soon. So you don't even have to think, oh, what am I going to say? We'll have a script for you. It's very easy. You can call your legislator by clicking that and it'll call from your computer, or you can email your lawmaker and it will include an email. Down here under spreading the word, it gives you our social media account so you can follow us and stay up to date on what's happening during the legislative session. Things move very quickly once session really gets started, and things change a lot. So in order to stay like the most up to date, we suggest following us on social media. And then down here is our VIP section. And spoiler alert, all 114 of you are VIPs. It does have a password. The password, ironically, is freedom, no uppercase. So you click submit, and then we have a lobby day conversation guide. I will go ahead and open that up, and this will just go through having a conversation with a legislator. Before I ever worked within the General Assembly, I never, ever would have thought, oh, I'm going to talk to a legislator. Even just working there as a legislative assistant, I was nervous to talk to them. So if you all have never talked to a legislator, that is completely fine. We have this conversation guide that you can use if you come to either one of our lobby days or potentially another organization's lobby days, or even if you want to just come to Frankfurt on your own and meet with your legislators and have meetings with them. This is all available for you in our All Access Pass. And last but definitely not least, we have a glossary similar to the LRC's glossary. Let's go down here to Bill. It shows you how to pronounce it, shows you that it's a noun, gives you the definition, and then you can even download the image if you want. And you can have it on your phone. You can put it on your story in case you want to, inform your friends and followers what all the different words that you've learned and your favorite phrases. I think that during session, our comms team might even be doing like a word of the day or a phrase of the day. But there's just a lot of good information in here that is very helpful when wanting to follow along with the legislative session. These are not words that I use in my everyday life, but I do want to start using some of these words like move the clincher. I want to start using that every single day. So that's just a little look at our All Access Pass. And then another brick that you can use is this Family Preservation Act toolkit. So again, you see similar areas where you can make your voice heard. You'll be sending a message when there's an action to take. You can talk to people about this specific piece of legislation. You can download the one-pager, and it has some of the stats. It has what Kate talked about during her section. And then it also has sources in case you're talking to a legislator and they want to ask like, how do you know that? You can see where we got it from. And this is just a really great resource. Even if you're not planning on talking to legislators, even if you just want to learn more about it yourself, it's great for that. And then down here with Spread the Word, similar to the glossary, you'll be able to download these graphics. You can also copy the text, and you can include that in your caption. So you don't even have to think about, oh, well, what am I going to say? You can copy it. It's already there. Again, there's information about parental incarceration. There's did you know, stats, all that good stuff. And again, each one of these are different. Any action that you take on this is another brick adding to that wall of sound. If you do download any of these images and share it on your social media, tag the ACLU of Kentucky, so then the brick can become bigger or more bricks, and we can have that wall of sound. I wonder, is anyone counting how many times I've said wall of sound? Other than that, if I can find the presentation. So that was the All Access Pass and the Family Preservation and Accountability Digital Toolkit. Both of those items are on the ACLU of Kentucky's website. You just go to General Assembly at the very top. We're also going to have a legislative action night later in February where we come together, and we're going to be doing this in person, and we're going to call legislators, we're going to email them, we're going to find their phone numbers, we're going to text them in a very legal way. Let me just say that. We're going to text them, and we're going to talk to them about the Family Preservation and Accountability Act. We're going to have lots of different bricks. And then finally, there will be a weekly volunteer email that's going out to keep everyone up to date on different actions that you can take, on any sort of movement that has been made, on any priority legislation, and also just sharing some fun pictures and showing you all what it's like to work in Frankfort in case you all want to come and check it out yourself. This next slide, I'm just going to take a second. If everyone's to take out their camera, or if you're on your phone, just take a screenshot, or you can take a picture with your cell phone camera. This is the legislative message line. They will be open. The hours are from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. You do not have to know who your legislator is. You do not have to know what exactly the name of the piece of legislation that you're talking about. You don't have to know the bill number. You will call and you will get to talk to a very lovely phone operator. They've always been very kind. They ask you what your name is, what your address is, so that they can look up your legislators, and they ask you what message you want to leave for your legislator. All of those messages are tracked and are delivered to legislators in the form of green slips, and they are counted. So they do make a difference, and we encourage you all to use the legislative message line as much as you want. There's also, for any Spanish-speaking people on the call, if you prefer to call the Spanish number, you are welcome to do that. We've included that. I have the legislative message line saved in my phone under a contact. I know that Rochelle Harris does too, because she is calling LRC every day during session. So go ahead and take that picture, save that contact. So I saw while Kate was talking, and I had a little break, I was able to look in the chat, and people were asking, what action can I take? What can I do? So this is our call to action part. Kate mentioned how we're working on the Family Preservation and Accountability Act, and we believe that people who are the most impacted by the issues have the greatest ability to change things and come up with solutions. So we really want to collect stories if you all from people who have direct experience or have expertise from working in a certain field with family separation due to incarceration. We would love for you to fill out our survey in order to share your story with our team. Your stories will never be shared without your consent, and they will never be any of the survey results will never be seen by anyone outside of the advocacy team. They are safe, and we just want, to know how many people are affected by this issue and how this piece of legislation can impact and change lives. So Kate has put, or will be putting, I can't see the chat, the link to the survey in the chat. So we're just going to take a few minutes to do that if you have some sort of experience that you want to share. And if you don't have an experience with, family separation due to incarceration, you can visit our All Access Pass page that I just showed you, find your new favorite word or phrase, download the graphic and share it on Instagram or Facebook, let your friends know what it means, and be sure to tag the ACLU of Kentucky so that we can also share it. So I'm going to give everyone 2 minutes until 6:44 to do those. Kate, I saw that you came off mute.
So just so folks know that in the chat, you can see the link to the Family Preservation Survey. You can see a link to register for the Mobilize event for that action night that Heather just talked about. And you can see a link to a training that the National ACLU is hosting tomorrow night on immigration as well, that Heather will talk about at the end. And we'll wrap up soon after this break that I hope Heather will also play some music for.
I will be playing some music. I said I would. There we go. Oh, the song. Wow. So we'll come back at 6:45.
I took my love, took it down. I climbed a mountain and I turned around. And I saw my reflection in snow-covered hills till the landslide brought me down. Oh, mirror in the sky, what is love? Can the child within my heart rise above? Can I sail through the changing ocean tides? Can I handle the seasons of my Well, I've been afraid of changing, 'cause I've built my life around you. But time makes you bolder, even children get older, and I'm getting older too. Well, I've been afraid of changing, 'cause I've built my life around you. But time.
Okay, it is 6:45, so I'm going to go to the next slide. I hope that everyone found some new words and phrases or had a second to fill out the survey. I saw someone in the chat suggested adding a section for teachers, which I think is a great idea. Thank you, Autumn. We're also going to be adding some questions for children who might have been impacted by the issue, just to try to get lots of different perspectives in there. So going to the next slide, we know that there are a lot of actions and a lot of links that we've thrown at you, but we want to make sure that you can get involved how you want to. There is going to be a call that is hosted by National ACLU tomorrow night at 8 p.m. for Immigration and Deportation Know Your Rights. It's a training. I think it's going to be super informative. I will be on there and hope that you all are also able to join if you have time. Kate's going to put the link to sign up in the chat. Oh, Kyra put it there. Perfect. Love it. Thank you so much, Kyra. So sign up for that if that's something that you're interested in. It is not Kentucky specific. It will be, like I said, hosted by National ACLU. So yeah, get on that, see what they're up to. And then last slide, just want to say thank you so much again. There's a survey, a post-presentation survey that I created to get your all's feedback on how, maybe I could have done better, suggestions, how you all liked it, if you got what you wanted and needed out of it. And then my email is also on there. You should all have an email from me in your inbox with the Teams meeting link. So you should have my email, but we would love for you to take just a few minutes to fill out the survey. Thank you all so much for joining us. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you again to Angela and Kyra, who helped make the presentation beautiful. And yeah, thank you all so much. We really appreciate it. Oh, yeah, listen to the Governor's State of the Commonwealth if you'd like. Thank you.
We're gonna get some music for the end, Heather, or
Get you bolder when children get older, and I'm getting older too. Oh, I'm getting older too. Oh, take my love, take it down. Oh, climb a mountain and turn around.
Thanks,
And
Clifford.
if you
Thanks.
see my reflection in snow-covered hills, where the landslide bring you down. And if you see my reflection
This song's gonna make me cry. Session hasn't started. I can't cry this early in session.
where the landslide bring you
Bad luck.
down.
Kate doesn't like it.
Oh,
just kidding.
people are sharing really great stuff in the chat too from their org. So when we
wow.
share the link, people should be able to get that stuff too.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure the chat, like, it saves. It doesn't
Yeah.
just appear like too.
Oh my God, Kyra! Look at stop sharing your screen and share Kyra's. Can you do that?
Oh, stop sharing my screen?
Yeah, because look at Kyra's. She did that.
Hang on, wait. Okay, I stopped sharing.
Okay, now. Oh, dang it, Kyra. Where'd it go?
Maybe together we can get somewhere. Any place is better.
What did
I do?
Starting from zero, got nothing to lose. Maybe we'll make
There it is. See it?
Oh, yeah. Who did that? I saw that while I was talking, and there were like 9 of us, and I didn't notice it was me because it was so tiny, and then I moved, and I saw the little thing move.
I guess
Are these like desks, or is this a stone? Tony, come here. Come here.
All right. Thank you so much, Heather. I'm gonna put my dang it, I should have done this earlier, put my email in there.
This is delightful.
He's pissed. I mean, he's unhappy. Sorry, I didn't mean to say that.
Oh my God, is that Jazz? Look how good these are. Oh, hey, look, Hattie.
Oh my gosh, there's Hattie.
Do you want dinner? I'm gonna make her some dinner.
Oh my gosh,
Oh,
Heather,
look,
your
no.
dog.
Tony and turned into Cujo sound like.
Right, I was like, Heather, your dog was going off.
She's made her own dinner.
Oh my goodness. Is that dinner?
Yeah, it's just a box of Capri Suns. All right. Great work, Heather.
Okay, thank you all.
All right, see you guys.
Bye. You killed that.